In this video, I will look at the crucial role a lot of Jews play in undermining the stability of their host countries and how it is important for the survival of said host countries. I will look at the ways it is done and why it is important for the overall health of the country to have people undermining it from time to time. Please note that this doesn't mean I'm talking about all Jews, just that Jews appear to have a higher propensity to undermine their country that they live in for genetic and cultural reasons. It's important to understand the genetic toxin response before we get started. That is, the expulsion of genes or organisms that are considered toxic or damaging to other genes or organisms within the group. This is why Jews are constantly expelled from countries they are in. It would undermine the stability of the host country, and reacting like an abscess or an organism vomiting, they expelled them from the host country once the undermining became too much to handle. If they can't be expelled for whatever reason, the next step in the genetic toxin response is to kill or burn the toxin. This is what happens in the Holocaust, and it's exactly what happens when an infection or fever happens via inflammation. Jews typically follow the archetype of Baphomet, or what you would call the trickster, more than other populations of people. This means they are greedy, like to undermine others, gain pleasure in the suffering of others, are deceptive, are more prone to discuss responses, and get jealous easily. Even the Jewish symbol of the Star of David is in fact related to the archetype of Baphomet by the fact that it represents instability. This is because the Star of David is a 2D representation of a Merkaba, the inverted octahedron, which is a symbol of instability. This is built in our subconscious as a way to understand shapes and different formations in nature. So anyone who follows the Star of David is someone who is deeply into instability and a follower of Baphomet. So typically, Jews are more of Baphomet followers than someone else as an adaptation of living in a comfortable environment yet chaotic environment, where Baphomet shines. This environment is created in states that form a hard protective shell around the Jews that protect it from direct harm, while the insides of the state get soft and lazy. Across many generations, Jews are now genetically softer and more inbred than the tough outer shell, which makes them more prone to acting within the Baphomet archetype. Using the Baphomet archetype, the Jews then began to undermine their host states. This use of Baphomet may largely be subconscious, and Jews might be thinking they are doing the right thing, even though they are undermining the stability of the host country. A good example of this is the promotion of immigration from countries with incompatible cultures, or the implementation of rigged economic systems that promote oligarchies over meritocracy. Both of these examples involve the use of the Baphomet archetype. Let's look at why this undermining by Jews is important for maintaining cultural sanity and breaking down of rigidly held ideas that may be unhelpful to the population or state. Because Jews may implement ideas that are effectively weaken or undermine the group, this allows the group to, after an amount of time, to recognize the cultural wrongs that were implemented so they can implement a new, stronger, more rational approach to the given issue. This is why Jews' role is to constantly break down and uphold social structures by trying to undermine them. It allows the rest of the group to find a better solution to the traditional system that was upheld through tradition and time. The issue is when the undermining is done to such a degree where the society starts to break down, like in the Weimar Republic. This led to a huge rise in anti-Semitism, as some Jews were undermining the systems that were crumbling down. Jews cannot really help but to undermine these things, as it is the genetic role, and it's very important that someone does it. Otherwise, traditional systems would never change, and bad systems would never get replaced. Both cultural and genetic reasons are why Jews are given the role of the trickster. Having highly mutated or inbred genes also contributes to the individual's predisposition to following the Baphomet archetype, as weak genes have trouble in stable environments, so they try and create chaotic environments where the genes have a better chance of success. Stable genes want things to stay the same. Unstable genes want things to change in the hopes that they gain some form of advantage when the change happens. Modern Jews descended from Canaanites, which are not the Jews of the Bible, but are instead a different group of people probably practice inbreeding to a large extent, which would have kickstarted the Jewish specialization in clearing bad traditional beliefs and clearing certain illusions. While some people may say this undermining of traditional ideas is purely a bad thing and that Jews should be punished, it is necessary that someone fills the role of traditional rechecker or a stability tester for traditions. If the tradition is so stable that it cannot be undermined, and is valued as a good tradition. In conclusion, Jews are more prone to using the Baphomet archetype, which makes them more prone to undermining others, being greedy, and getting jealous easily. This allows Jews to better perform their cultural and genetic role of tradition checkers, where they undermine currently held beliefs in the hopes of a new, stronger, and more rational beliefs takes hold afterwards.